Morning, everybody. Glad you're all here. Thank you for being here. It's a tough day. We're honoring Mom. Everybody's here, and I'm appreciating it. All of you guys. It's so nice of you to come. And I'm just really glad you're here. Mom passed in December, and now we're able to have the funeral now in February. And I'm just really glad that you're all here and to support her. And I know some of you knew her more than others, but I'm just really glad you're all here, and it's wonderful. And I'd like to welcome Miss Ellen Stalen up to be able to read her eulogy and poems. Come on up, Ellen. And I'll give you the microphone to clip on. Or can I clip it on you so you have it?
It could go on here.
Yeah, let me see. And I'll hear you better. I'll just edit out the parts that like that. Let's see. I think that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You can just talk.
Thank you, dear.
Yep. And I'll make sure it's still recording.
So good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear? Yes. See, I can't hear myself very well because I forgot my hearing aids. I am pleased to give a memorial for Noni, who was a very dear friend. She and my sister Catherine and I have been friends since we were respectively 10, 11, and 12. We met at dancing school, which is a rather formal dancing school. The young men had to wear white gloves so they wouldn't soil our dresses, and we learned to walk around the edge of the dancing floor, not through it, and so forth. Our parents sent us there in the hope that we would become ladies, and Noni's parents succeeded. She was a lady to the last. In the way she spoke, and the way she thought about other people, and the way she acted herself. So we maintained this friendship for more than 70 years. And we did it as children because we lived in New Bedford and Mattapoisett, respectively, mostly through sailing dates, sometimes in Mattapoisett, sometimes on Long Pond, where the trips had a lovely summer cottage. But as we grew older and were in college and able to drive, and from then onward, we would have occasional visits. My sister Catherine very graciously included Noni in all the major holidays, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. And so she and Mihai became part of our family. Noni went to Connecticut College for Women, but as it's been, as they've accepted men, it's now just called Connecticut College, where she majored in English. Then she got a master's degree at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, where she further studied English. And then she conveyed some of this knowledge that she had when she became a teacher at New Bedford High School, which she did until 2002. And yesterday, many of her fellow teachers and students who had her came to the visiting hours, which was very touching. Noni was very adventuresome. In her early adulthood, she traveled. And surprisingly, she went to places like Tibet, the Seychelles, and Madagascar, rather than the usual countries like France and Germany. The spirit of adventure was culminated in a trip to Romania, where she adopted her precious Mihai and eventually brought him home in a basket, and ever after gave him loving and tender care. She was a tigress mother, though, because she was active in pursuing all the resources so that Mihai might reach his full potential as an adult. But she was kind and gentle as well. In fact, you all have copies of her poetry, and there's one poem that talks about the importance of a smile. Her philosophy was that a gentle smile was a better teaching tool than harsh criticism. And I'm sure she applied that both in her mothering and in her teaching at school. Noni had many personal qualities. One of them was she was thrifty. Thrifty almost to an extreme, but only at her own expense. She was generous with others, and she did not let her thriftiness inhibit her having a full life. She was enormously resourceful in finding fun and interesting things to do that were still economical. Her other qualities included that she was determined. Those of you who know her, she was a really determined lady, very responsible, intelligent, and a faithful friend. I feel I've gotten to appreciate Noni better through reading her book of poetries that she wrote and was published. And some of you, I hope, do all of you have a list of poems with this cover on it? Oh, good. I wasn't sure I'd have enough. So she wrote poems about nature, particularly flowers, trees, and birds. And her response is so spiritual and eloquent that I came to appreciate that she really is a transcendentalist. Now, the transcendentalists were a group of philosophers in the 19th century in Concord whose major tenets were a belief that people should think for themselves. They eschewed religious dogma, and they emphasized the importance of communing with nature. Noni came by thinking for herself naturally, as she was raised a Unitarian. And I remember her mother saying, at the time it was rather scandalous to a Catholic, "I don't believe that God is all-powerful." And she elaborated by saying, most people think God is all-knowing, all-loving, and all-powerful. But her mom thought, if God is all-powerful, why does he leave the world in such a state? So she believed God was not all-powerful. So Noni grew up with this emphasis on thinking for yourself. And Noni, when she planned her own mother's memorial service, relied on poetry. The poetry that Noni had selected, and it was an extensive and beautiful selection, which she was able to do because of her own knowledge of English and poetry. So I thought it was fitting that in the service today, we feature Noni's poetry. And I tried to organize it into groups, but I realized there really are many groups. One of the groups is poems that feature birds, flowers, and trees, and there were some that showed the cycle of nature, and even the death of plants and their regeneration into the soil. So, well, the first two readings will be pizzazz, and the second one is about a woodpecker percussion. Another group of readings addresses the question of what makes life worth living. And that includes, one quest is to find unity in mind, body, movement, and spirit. It was interesting that she included movement, but she viewed that as an expression of the spirit as well as the body. the poem Rhythm captures that quest. Other poems express virtues that make human interactions peaceful and rewarding. Virtues like tolerance, forgiveness, and love. Noni, in her final days, repeatedly talked to me about